hope you had a good day. Hi everyone, welcome to our Malaysia Olympism in Action Community Episode 4 Series 2 online series. We will be talking about can sports psychology help us? To all Malaysian and to all our local viewers, thank you for joining us today. So today we'll have a very special guest. He is a very passionate sports psychologist, where he will actually share with us that sports psychology is not only a practice for athletes or even youth athletes or even coaches, but it is something that we can all practice in our daily life. Yeah, so if you think that this session will be beneficial to you or your friends, please invite them to join us today. And also, if you have any comments, please leave it below. Please ask us as many questions as you can. And also, let's make this session as engaging as we can so that we all can learn together, whether it's from a coach perspective or whether you are just an individual that have difficulty overcoming some psychological barriers. Just leave a message below. We look forward to read, and we look forward to also help you so that you can achieve the best in life. So yes, we will actually start in 1 minute. So we hope you had a good day. Oh, and also to my dad and to all dads in the world, happy Father's Day. Wishing you all the best of health, happiness, and success. Yeah, so I had a superb week this week because if you all know that I'm a former national badminton player and I'm also a badminton coach. So this week we can actually resume to our badminton coaching, which is truly awesome. I can see the faces of the students. They are so so happy, on court, sweating away, meeting all of us. It's truly, truly awesome. But let's all also, stay safe and practice all the SOPs which are required. All right, cool, awesome. I can see some really cool comments already. Nice, really nice. Please help us to share. And now we shall start. For those who have just joined us and to all our viewers, welcome to our Malaysian Olympism in Action Community Episode 4, Series 2, which we will be talking about can sports psychology help us? To all Malaysians and to all our local viewers, terima kasih kerana bersama kami pada hari ini. I will be the host for today's session, and I am Daphne Ng once again, and I'm currently the head coach of Duo Sparks Badminton Development Centre. So some of you might wonder, what is Malaysian Olympism in Action Community? We are actually made up of former participants of NOA, which is the educational arm of OCM, Olympic Council of Malaysia. We all come from different walks of life, but we are all united by one core purpose, which is to spread the values of Olympism, which is respect, excellence, and friendship. So Olympism is actually not only about Olympics or for elite athletes, but it is a philosophy of life, blending sport and culture and education. It seeks to create the way of life based on the joy of effort, not giving up, giving our best in everything we do. And then also we celebrate friendship through sports and as well as respect. So today, we are pleased to have Brian Wynn as our special guest. Brian is the co-founder of MyGap, a sports psychology consultancy in Malaysia. He graduated with his Masters in Sport and Exercise Psychology from University of West of England, Bristol, after he obtained his degree in psychology from Cardiff University. His journey in sports psychology began in 2016 when he did his internship at the National Sports Institute of Malaysia, and he has not looked back since then. He also had the opportunity to learn from various sports clubs and associations, including Bristol City Women Football Club, Cardiff City FC Academy, and in the recent years, various e-sport teams. Brian also used to lecture part-time at the Department of Psychology of Sunway University for their undergraduate psychology course on top of his applied sports psychology work. So he is a really passionate, enthusiastic sports psychologist, and we are really excited to hear what he has for us today. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give your loudest cyber clap to Brian Wynn. Hi,
Hello.
Brian. Yeah, hi,
Hey,
how
hi,
are you?
Daphne. Good,
How's
good, good.
your day? Yeah. So,
Busy,
Brian,
but good.
yeah, awesome, awesome. So, things are slowly, resuming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I actually did a brief introduction about you and your
Yeah.
passion for sports psychology in wanting to, help athletes in terms of psychological aspects and help them to bring out their best. So, what about, can you share more about yourself?
Yeah, okay. Maybe I'll just start with what you said just now. So yeah, just tracking back a bit. So yeah, I actually did my degree in general psychology at first because
Yeah.
there isn't really a degree of sports psychology in Malaysia because it's not a big thing, So at first I did my general psychology at Help University. After that, I was able to transfer to the UK at Cardiff University. Then when I came back actually in 2016, as you said just now, um, I interned at ISN, so the Institute Sukan Negara under the Sports Psychology Center. Interesting fact about that, I actually applied the year before, but I didn't get a response. So I just tried again the next year. And I got it this time. So I felt pretty lucky that I got that. Um, so when I was there, I was mostly learning because in psychology you can't really because you deal with such personal things, you deal with athletes' lives and stuff like that. It's very personal, so you don't really get to, as an intern, work that closely in terms of doing the like sports psychology work, right? So what I did then was actually I just was there to learn. So that 3 months that I was there during 2016, what, July to September. Yeah. So the good thing about that was it was during the Rio Olympics. But also the bad thing was it was during the Rio Olympics because there weren't many athletes around because a lot of them have actually flown to Rio, unfortunately. But also I got to it was more like a learning internship actually. I shadowed a few of the sports psychology officers there. One of them, Philip Liu. If you all know, he's a mentor of mine. I look up to him, and I've learned a lot from him. Basically, I was like a sponge. So after that, after my internship, I actually went back to the UK and decided, okay, yeah, let's go. I'm gonna do sports psychology for sure. So after that, I somehow graduated, and then uh, did my master's in sport and exercise psychology at Bristol. So it was there where I got a bit more experience, I would say. I was trying to find work there, but the thing is that same thing, you can't, to get a job in sports psychology, right? You need experience. But to get experience, you need experience. So this is a real chicken and egg thing. So what I did was, I in the end, I kept trying and trying, but I couldn't get a job. That's fine because visa issues and stuff like that, and Brexit was happening. It was getting really hard. So what I did was I didn't let that bring me down because I knew that I was going to come back, right? So just use all the chances that I have to learn from the best in the field, learn from everyone and then kind of soak it up like a sponge and then come back and spread the knowledge here and try to help people here. Yeah. Also, after I came back to Malaysia, that was a year ago. Yeah, 2019. I came back actually, and I approached my partner. So my other co-founder of MindGap. I approached him and said, "Hey, you wanna work together with this? We maybe can help people's lives a bit better. Instead of competing with each other to fight over the same clients. So we came together. We're like, okay, you know what? Let's just work together and improve together. That's kind of a brief introduction of who I am and what MindGap is about. And yeah,
Interesting, interesting. From listening, what you have shared, I can feel your energy and as well as your passion, to really help people in terms of sports psychology. So, actually, do you remember how I actually met you, right? I met
yes,
you
yes,
from
yes.
the final mental preparation for the Malaysian SEA Games esports athletes. So, I actually did a session with our first SEA Games gold medalist, Dr. Yu, from the Hearthstone event. So he actually won the gold medal for Malaysia. I met Brian over there at that session, and we actually exchanged some knowledge. And also, we see the importance of sports psychology. So actually, sports psychology is crucial for athlete success, right? We all understand that. But then most people actually do not prepare in terms of that, but only focusing on the physical conditioning, technical skills, and even tactical skills, right? But then said that they did not focus much on the psychological skills. So actually, can you share like what is sports psychology? Like, is it only for athletes or for peak performers in sports or basically anyone? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I think the most traditional definition of sports psychology, right, is performance enhancement. Trying to get that peak performance from all of the athletes, to perform under pressure and stuff like that. But there's also the second part, which is also about well-being. So well-being is about making sure that everything's taken care of. You're all right. You're fine. And also there's that the thing that I like to talk about the most is the life skills part, because not everyone who does sports comes out to become like a national athlete or like a world number one. Lots of them, they do sports because they like it, and they just enjoy sports. And
Yep.
it's that demographic that that really can benefit from it. So the life skills part, right? I would say it's about teaching the people it's about giving people who don't actually go into national programs and stuff like that, something that they can use. Things like improving their leadership skills, their communication skills, all this that transfer so they learn it in sport, right? And it's like a transferable skill from in sport, how you use that communication and stuff to outside of sport, maybe when you're working or you're trying to study, and how to manage your time and stuff like that, and how to communicate with like your bosses, for example, if you get a corporate job later on.
Right. So from what you said just now, that is basically it can be applied. That means we can transfer the skills from sports psychological skills to our daily life and applied it, right?
Yes. So
Yeah,
actually, it's just the context that's different. So what we do is we teach them in the sport context, but actually these kind of skills that you have, right? All the skills that you learn in college, especially you, I think Daphne, the ability to control your emotions that's probably very important for your work now, right?
Yes, definitely. I think not just for sports, but then in our daily life, right? We learn how to control our calmness, right? During for example, in badminton, it's 20 all, and then the linesman just said, oh, that's an out shot when it's supposed to be an in shot, and then you just can't keep your calmness, and then you just can't focus anymore, and then you continue to lose the game. And I think it is one of the biggest challenge that most athletes face. But then again, I think sports psychology, we all have a lot of doubts on a lot of people think that it is a magic, but
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
sure. Can you share with your experience, right, in Bristol or in UK, working with
Yeah.
different teams? Can you share how often should we practice the skills, and actually what skills are they? What skills it is like for people to enhance, like just sharing with them. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'll answer the second part of that first. So I think the skills that a lot of people can find very useful, right, is actually something that I've been trying to practice myself too as well. I've been trying to practice it. It's these kind of things. All these mental skills are you got to practice it. It's like going to the gym. You don't just get strong by lifting one weight, right? You have to continuously practice it. Right? You lift one weight, the gym's all closed today. You don't need to do anything. So, yeah, I think the one thing that a lot of people can really benefit from is this thing called mindfulness. So in my sense, what I mean by mindfulness, so I'm not a big preacher of mindfulness, but I like the concept, which is that you're in the now, you're present, and you're not to say, let's say if you're feeling angry, right? It's not about saying, no, you shouldn't be feeling angry. No, you're feeling angry, and that's for a reason, right? And it's about accepting it. Okay, yeah, I'm angry, I'm in the now, but what do I do with it now? That's what's important, right? It's not about what emotion you're going on, because you're always going to feel emotion, right? You're human. That's basic human emotions. But it's what you do with it that kind of counts. And for me, I think mindfulness, what I've been practicing for myself and my work is just, yeah, if things are going wrong, right? Don't need to get angry at it or like lose my head over it. I just say, okay, I just look at it objectively, take myself out of the picture, look from above, like I'm like looking at myself in the box, like, okay, this happened. So now what? Instead of getting too angry, like, this happened, and I'm so angry, like, this person cut me off, things like that, So that is one thing that I've been trying to do. I think I've been trying to learn more about as well. So I'm not an expert about that, but I think it's all about learning.
Wow, that's a great sharing, like, when we can't control our emotion and then we just step ourselves out and then, imagine that you're looking yourself in a box and then actually we are just in a box, right? But then actually if you think differently, then, things are actually not that serious. We don't have to throw our temper on someone and, create an unhappy emotion, right? And I
Yeah,
also
yeah,
read somewhere, that they say that when you have when you feel unhappy or don't feel good, then you imagine like just the river, the stream water will always
yeah.
flow away. So by time things will actually flow away. So if you have a problem, if you cannot solve it at that time, just imagine that it's like a water, the stream water, it just flows away.
Actually, I'll I'll
Yeah.
I'll I'll, I'll kind of borrow that from you from now on. I'll use that analogy.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, so I love psychology myself because for me I had an experience that I was a coach, right? I mean, I'm still a coach, and then I was sitting behind my students. She actually is a better player than the opponent, but then during crucial times, that means during the in the round robin, she actually beat the opponent easily, but then in the rankings in the playoffs, and then she just shook and she can't play anything, and I was just sitting behind restless because her point is the most important point to the team. So I can't help in any way, and I feel so sad because I'm just helpless because in every way she is better than the opponent, in tactical, physical, in every way, because in the round robin she actually beat her, like not even close, but then she just lost the game because she can't even play. She was just choking, she was shivering basically the whole game. So then I realized how important is sports psychology after that, and that's why I also further my studies in it. So yes, interesting. So just now you shared that we have to practice it often. So is it like every night, or like how we train physically? So how long must the session be, or how should it be, or what should they train? Like goal settings or imagery, or yeah, maybe you can share more about that because I
Yeah,
really want this session to be impactful, that all our viewers here over here, they actually have something to take home, and
yeah,
I want them to practice it and make it the way of their life and change their life from today on, right? So it would be nice if you can share more. Thanks.
yeah. I will. So I
Yeah.
think that for these kind of things, right? As for so mental skills, right? Mental skills training, as we call it, it's a process. You have to commit to it and keep doing it. What I mean by keep doing it, it's like it's not like every night or everything. It's like continuously in your life, right? What this means is, for example, let's say confidence, all right? Confidence.
Yes.
So it's not just about how you confident you are on the court as well, because how confident you are outside the court also sometimes translate as well. So if you keep practicing and practicing it, there is no like magic number that tells you that if you do this amount, you'll be okay. It's more like you have to just commit to always do it, always practice it, and it doesn't matter if you fail at it or you succeed at it at that time. It's just about consistency and always doing it, always trying. It's not just like, okay, I did today, it didn't. I'm not feeling confident today, and then I just give up. No, it's not like that. It's about maybe today I wasn't feeling that confident because of something. So that's where kind of reflection comes in. The most important part about learning a skill is actually the reflection part, because you can learn, but if you don't reflect on, okay, why is it working for me or why isn't it not working for me, you're gonna be kind of stuck. You're at a plateau. You can't break that that
That curve.
plateau. Yeah. So, long answer short, I think it's something that you have to keep doing, and it's not something that once you get it, you get it. It's even if you get it, you have to still keep practicing it because it is a skill. Okay, if you don't practice it enough or you don't continuously practice it, it will like be rusty. So, example like your smash, right? I say badminton, you
Correct.
smash, and
Correct.
one day like, okay, I got it. Then you
Yeah.
don't train anymore. Five
Definitely.
months down the road, later you need smash, and like, ah yeah, don't know how to smash it, gone. Same thing. Yeah.
All right. So it's like a skill, like, so now after 3 months of everyone not playing, and then we actually have so it's like when the students go back on court, they are a bit rusty, although they have it before that, but it takes some time to actually polish it. So it's actually like strength. So you have to identify what is your strength and your weaknesses, right? So for example, if I'm not sure if it's right, but then if let's say you are weak in concentration, so I think you have attentional control training, right? Yeah, so then you have to write out. So in terms of even mental skills, we have all these kind of skills that you have to address, your strength and your weaknesses. And then you strengthen your strength and then you improve your weaknesses. Correct,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You can
interesting.
constantly review it as well, because sometimes your weakness can become your strength suddenly, and then your strength that you thought it was okay and you didn't work on it will suddenly be your weakness. So it's a lot about looking into yourself and reviewing, reflecting, I would say.
All right, nice. Brian, we have an interesting question from Sharon
Oh,
B.
okay.
Yeah. So Sharon actually asked what's the similarity of psychology and mental health? How important is it for Malaysian to have awareness of those? As we all know, like now, I think it's a trying time for every one of us. Unexpected. Everybody just don't know what's next, what to do next, and I think it is quite stressing on our mental part. A lot of people are facing um, issues and difficulty. So, what are your opinion on this?
Yeah. Thanks, Sharon, for the question. Actually, it's a very interesting question, because a lot of times people kind of miss like they use it they use it like psychology is mental health is psychology. Actually, not really. Psychology, by its definition, okay, is basically the study of human behavior and the mind, right? And mental health is basically one section of psychology. So it's not that mental health is psychology or psychology is mental health. It's more like a subset of it. Um, so psychology, things like how people choose, like if you see go to the supermarket and how people choose which brands they're gonna take from the aisle. That's also psychology, because it's all about human behavior. Why people do this and do that. Mental health is more on the specific. So we have physical health, right? So physical health is like your the cardiovascular health, your. I mean, I'm not a physical doctor, so I don't really know, but things like that. But there's also the mental health, where it's the mind. How healthy is your mind? So, and mental health, people kind of have a very bad. There's a very bad name to it. When people say mental health, they always associate it with bad mental health, and like you're crazy, or like you have depression, or like you're suffering from ADHD and stuff like that. But mental health is not about it's not just about bad mental health. You can have good mental health, and what's good mental health is that you're coping. You're being able to function in your daily life. That's also mental health, but people don't really talk about it. They talk about the negative side of it, but I think we should really talk more about the positive side of mental health, which is okay. How do we maintain our mental health, especially in this kind of period, right? What they can share, like what I've been doing to uh, stay sane. I don't like saying sane, but that's the word. And I think we just have to. I think people don't really talk about mental health as well in this country and this side of the world. I think it's quite a taboo thing. I think that's one of its major drawbacks, that psychology is viewed as you're crazy, that's why you need to see a psychologist, but not really.
Yeah, yeah,
Psych-
yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
yeah, psychologists can do a lot more than just make you go from like negative to where you are normally. It's also about bringing you where you are now into a better life. How
True.
you learn some skills to make yourself even better. Yeah.
Yes, so actually I've been doing, if you know, like I've been doing a lot of corporate sharing on health and wellness talks. So actually a lot of people thought that mental health issues is a problem, but it is actually a huge problem in coming years, because like I also think that you can't see it, because it's something that to deal with our mental. You can't see your mental, it's very subjective, right? You have nothing to read. Whereas like physical issues, you have your body aches, if you have fever, then you can see. But the thing is, mental health issues, right? You cannot address it. You don't know until it's very serious, then you fall into depression, which is that time it's very difficult to actually improve, or even cure, and then you have to go to a psychologist or psychiatrist to actually get out from it. So,
Yeah.
and I just want to share, I'm a fan of sports, right? I love sports. So honestly, sports and exercise can also help you to recover or get better or feel better every day. It's like a daily vitamin, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, thanks for that sharing. And we have another question from Charanjit Singh. So he asked, should sports psychology be introduced in schools? What do you agree? Is it like, yeah, what is a good age to introduce sports psychology so that they can make it a practice in life? Yeah.
Yeah. So I am a bit biased, and I would say yes, it should be introduced. In terms of when, right? I think as early as you can, because I'm not saying like because the issue with psychology is that when you're working with minors, it's a bit touchy. There are a lot of things you can and can't do, like safeguarding things because they are minors. But I think the concepts of it can be introduced. Why I say that is because I think everyone can benefit from a little bit of sports psychology, the concepts in it. But the concepts of sports psychology, right, is actually a lot of it is borrowed from other parts of psychology, counseling psychology, cognitive psychology, other parts of psychology, clinical psychology and stuff like that. So it's not as strictly it is sports psychology, but the concepts of mental skills training is very important, right? It doesn't have to be in sport or sports psychology specifically, but some part of psychology or mental skills training should be introduced at a younger age. Especially, I think, in this culture where everyone's a bit more like tight-lipped and like they don't really want to talk about these kind of issues. But because if you look at it in the US, right, it's actually quite an in thing to have a therapist or something. They talk about therapists like oh, I'm going for a therapist today, and like my therapist said this and that, and that's like normalizing psychology, normalizing mental health, and that's what it should be. Because when you have a cold or like you have a cough, right, or fever, you tell someone, oh, I have a fever, oh, say go to the doctor, But then if you tell someone, I'm not feeling great today, I'm feeling a bit down, they say, oh, just what's wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with you, with everything in the world, just toughen up, something like that. And physical health is important, yes, right? We all agree. No one says physical health is important, but mental health is also very important because it plays a part in your physical health. Because let's say if you're feeling very down or you're feeling depressed and stuff like that, right? It affects your physical health because maybe you don't eat well enough, you eat a lot of junk, and then that kind of hurts your diet and stuff like that. So it's a very catch-22, It's like, to answer the question before I go on and on, yes, I think it should be introduced, and it should be introduced. It may not be, maybe not introduce it as sports psychology, but some form of mental skills training. They should be introduced to children from a young age, because from then it's easier to instill them, to instill that, and to get rid of the stigma from when you're young. Because when you're now, right, you tell like a 60-year-old person, say, hey, your mind's very important, mental skills is very important. You say, no, no such thing. So
yeah. I'm already so successful without mental skills. So I think at the age of as they grow up, I think at that age, at 60 years old, probably about problem solving, not about implementation of the skills. So to implement it to children, I think in a maybe in a cartoonized way or in a fun learning way about goal settings, I think it is interesting, and maybe probably they can be a goal getter in the future, and they are they have better perseverance, or maybe
yes.
Better attentional control, especially now with the, a lot of kids are always on the screen. So whenever they are abroad, then their focus is lacking. Yeah. So I think it is also, I mean, in my own opinion also, Karanjit, I think it is good to implement it, but then maybe in a primary school, maybe it's more to fun learning, teaching about what is goal settings, what is time management, the basic of sports psychology, or maybe mental skills training. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. So based on your experience, Brian, how much does mind over matter really impact performance in life? Can you share with us practical examples?
Yeah. Very good question, actually. Short answer is yes, it does matter, but also to only to an extent. So why I say this is because let's take, for example, okay, let's say a sports team, hockey or something, okay. Let's say they have the best mental strength. They are just mentally strong. They work on their mental skills every day, right? But then they forget to work on their actual hockey, right?
Okay.
No matter how good they are mentally, there comes a limit where, okay, I can be mentally tough and all that, but if I don't work on my other skills, it's not gonna translate to results, right? So what I mean is that you have to work on everything. It's not just like this is the answer. This is not the answer. This is just one thing that will help boost and complement your training. Because this is not miracle pill. Okay, if it was a miracle pill, I'll just put in the pill and then sell to you. That's easier. But that's not sports psychology. Sports psychology is trying to get the best out of you. But there is, sorry for being blunt, but if there is nothing in you, it's very hard to get things going out, So for examples, right? Let me give an example from my own. Because I play ultimate frisbee, right? So when actually I started playing a bit more competitively when I was in my second year of uni. So 2016, 2016. So I started then. I was just like a normal, like I just play like I'm just a member. But then the year after that, I actually became captain. And when I was captain, I kind of took the techniques that I learned from sports psychology, how to build a winning culture, a winning team, and use it on my own. Unfortunately, that year, our big tournament, we didn't win. But it's about, so what I learned from high performance sport, right, is that it's a process. And if you keep doing it and keep practicing and keep going, one day you'll find success. Maybe it won't be that day, but it's about learning from that experience that you had, right? So for me, I went there, I lost. That kind of gave me fuel. Say, okay, next year we're gonna win no matter what. But it wasn't really about winning. It's about breaking up the process of how we're gonna win, right? So it's about what do we need to do to win. So we need to train this, or we need to be good at this. Let's say we need to work on our passing, right? So you work on our passing. So we kind of individualize and specify what kind of training we need to do, right? So that's like the reflective practice, trying to find out what works for us, what didn't work for us, how we can become even better. And then after that, after a year or so, I kind of stopped. I stood back from being captain, so I was more like a player, but helped coach a bit. I think so. When I coach, it's not about the full tactical and like the full technical side of it, because I'm not the brightest mind in ultimate frisbee. But what I know is how to get people to get the best out of people, right? So how to create an environment where people are willing to fail, willing to give their all, and willing to accept criticism, because that's how you build a great team. Everyone has to be open. You have to be. I mean, as you know, it takes a certain, I won't say amount, but it takes a certain attitude to win, and that kind of. So yeah, what happened was that my third year came when I was coaching and playing a bit, because I had other commitments, so I couldn't commit to it. So what I did was, from there, I remember the turning point in that tournament was that I got injured. So I think people around me who are my friends who have tuned in know that I get injured on a very regular basis, but I have not in a while. So what happened was, when I got injured, actually, I couldn't play. Right, I literally cannot be on the field with them, because if I go on the field, I'm only disadvantaging them. Basically, it's a 7-man game, right? If I go on, it's gonna be 6 men, and then we're gonna lose because of that. So I said, you know what? I can't play. I'm not gonna feel angry about it. What can I do now? So I stepped back at that very moment. It was all about man management, coaching basically. So I became their coach for a while. Then the last few games, I remember there was a little conflict happening with my teammates. Because when you're in a very high pressure situation, people tend to shout. But sometimes they don't actually mean it. Just like for the moment, they're like just very frustrated that things aren't working out, plays aren't going around, and they keep shouting at people. Fortunately, we won that game. But what I learned is that you need to, any issue is a performance issue. All right. So people shouting at each other is not good. And I didn't care if we lost any of our games. I wanted us to follow the process of this is a safe space for all of us. We have to work together. If we're not working together, why it doesn't matter. Our friendship is worth more, and the camaraderie is worth more than what a stupid medal can give us. Because we've already achieved more than I would have liked for them, and I'm very proud of them already. So I think from that, it's about changing that mindset into okay, I don't care what happened just now. I know things are a bit tense. All right, let's just let that go. Remember, we're friends here, and our aim is not to win; it's to have fun with each other and to do just go the process. Just have a fun weekend with each other, because we were students at the time. Weekends are usually like we traveled basically. And we traveled so far, I don't want us to feel angry and regret about anything. So we came down, it's like, guys, let's set out the plan. I just managed the team here and there. Long story short, we won. And that was like very good moment for me, because it kind of told me that, okay, the things the processes that we put in place 2-3 years ago was working. And it kind of validated to me that, yes, this works. And yeah, it just takes time, because you can't make champions instantly.
Yeah,
But
true.
that's also because we weren't like a championship team. Because the year before we got like what 16 out of 24. Then the next year we got first. We basically upset everyone. Yeah. So I think in that sense, what I want to say is that mind over matter does matter, but only when you have that amount of skill available to use your mind. If let's say you're like an amateur player, they tell you use your mind, you can beat this one number one. No way. He's gonna beat you because he's just better than you. That's all. It's not because of anything else. Yeah. So I think it's the small. Sometimes it's the small gains, but sometimes it's about the big changes that can happen, like the epiphanies where if I just control my emotions, and this is the way to control my emotions, I break down step by step. Then this is how I'm gonna win the game. For example.
Yeah. Actually, what you have shared, right? It is truly what we truly encourage others to practice, which is the values of Olympism. Respect, excellence, and friendship, where we celebrate the joy of effort. And I've also shared it with. Like yesterday, I have a session with the Chonghua High School students. I share with them, how do you measure success in sports? It's not just truly about winning. There's only one person who win every time in a tournament, but there are so many ways to actually measure success in sports, which is through friendship, for example, which is through joy of effort. You give your best, and you try to overcome obstacles, and then whether you win or not, that is a bonus to that, right? And also, I believe memories like these, very challenging times like this, and how you actually work with your team, and also you believe in them. I think these are actually essential skills that we can actually practice in our daily life. When you come to work, and then you believe in your colleagues' ability, you trust them, and then when everyone come together, then I think it will be very strong. A strong team cohesion. I think
Yes.
we always learn that, but then we don't actually see it if it's only through words, right? You have to go through it, and then only you believe in it, that's the power of sports, and which is why we are bringing this to you. Right, interesting.
Yeah.
So we have a very interesting question from Halim. So he said, what's the greatest drawback in psychology, as many things of the darker version of it, rather than mentally projecting oneself better?
Yeah, I think as we spoke just now about this, when we talked about Sharon's question, I think a lot of people, it's that stigma, that people think mental health is about being crazy. I don't like using that word, but negative mental health, where, I think that kind of, there's a barrier there, right? So when people hear about psychology, they instantly like, no, I don't need this. But actually, they don't really see that, it's about it's not about fixing you. It's about how can you become even better than you are right now, right? And that's the main focus of sports psychology. Because for me, let's say you have like the mental health part, right? Bad mental health. Even I don't deal with very serious mental health issues because that is not my specialty, right? So what I know is that if I recognize these kind of signs of major depression, major anxiety and stuff like that, I'll have to kind of refer you to another professional, because it is my duty to give you the best help that you can, right? And if the best help isn't me, that's fine. I just have to be able to know who to refer you to, and that's pretty much it. I'm not sure if I answered the question, but yeah.
Yeah, I believe it does, right? So it's more of admitting what problems you have, and then after that you seek for help, and then you address it, and then you solve it so that you can bring out the best of your potential ability.
Yeah.
Interesting. So Brian, so it's like, in your opinion, right, who should work with a sports psychologist? I kind of have this opinion that perhaps nowadays kids, I think they keep a lot to themselves. And I think before any issue gets worse, any like certain kids, they always keep to themselves and then become introvert, and they are always on the game, and their parents are working, and I'm not sure, like, in your opinion, who should actually work with a sports psychology or psychologist, or is it only when you have a problem then only you seek for it, or if you feel like they need enhancement, or they need something to improve themselves, then they seek for it?
Yeah, I think there is no fixed limit of who can or who should work with sports psychologists. It's really up to you. There is no better time or like there's no good time for it. It's just whenever you feel like it. So it's about what your goals are, right? So if your goals are to become even better or to break that top 10 national athlete, you can start working. But if your goal is also just to improve yourself or just so you can play better when you're playing with your friends and stuff, you also can. But just that the goals of that is a bit different, one is about winning Olympic medals, one is about just trying to become a better athlete, right? Or better person through sports, right? So there is no really ideal client for us. It's more like we'll work with you as long as it's in the sporting context. But if you're, we're not gonna work with you if you need to like become better at your job and stuff like that. That's not us, lah. But if you want to become better at your sport using psychological and mental skills training, that's us. Yeah. Not sure if I answered the question again, but yeah.
Yes, definitely you did. It's good. And we have a very good question from Wei Yi. I think it's your friend. He said, "Hey Brian, do you think being too competitive is bad for overall mental health?"
Okay, this is a very interesting question because athletes, right, as a population, right, they are very competitive, and it's actually if you look at it, right, like an athlete population and a general population, right, it's two very different things. If someone like not in sport tells someone in sport that, okay, you're being too competitive, that's not very good, they'll be like, "What are you talking about? This is my life," and all that. No, that's not how athletes work. They are wired a bit differently, I think, because that is their drive, that is their passion, and you can't just tell someone that you're doing this is not good. That's the surefire way to tell them that you're not going to break through in the head. So if I tell someone to say like, "Hey, maybe have you thought about being less competitive?" They'll be like, what are you talking about? So no, it's about how to manage that competitive edge and use it for your advantage. Of course, being too competitive and then like things like you become too competitive and then you end up using doping and stuff to increase your performance, that's bad, right? But the intent of it is not bad. It's the way that you manage that intent and how you cope with it, basically. So I think being too competitive is not bad for your overall mental health, but it only becomes bad when you can't cope with it and you're using other methods, like let's just say you just drink alcohol, smoke, or like you do drugs or doping and stuff like that. That's bad kind of coping mechanisms. That's maladaptive, as they call it. We try to make more adaptive coping mechanisms for you. So it is not bad, but maybe depends how competitive it is. If it's about sport and it doesn't affect your daily life, it should be good. But I think every athlete has that innate competitiveness in them, and that will never go away. And it's about working around it and how to use that competitiveness and the energy in them to bring out the best in them, right? Rather than doing too many things, the shortcuts to get to where they're supposed to be.
I believe it's a lot about a person's mindset as well. So if you actually take it positively on competition, and then it actually helped to lift your standard higher, it helped you to improve and live a better life. But then if you think that it is something very stressing, then I think the mindset of it is wrong because you are taking towards a more negative way of life. So whether it's in sports or whether it's in esports or whether it's in education, I think a lot of students today they just want to get perfect, get 100 marks for every subject, and you must get first in the class. And I think I've read somewhere that there's no perfect person in this world.
Yeah.
There's only perfect when you are not born or when you are dead. I heard of this quote. I think it's quite interesting. So yes, that's a brilliant question. And you have another question from Jun Hong. He said I have a friend called Akihiro, who I feel needs some counseling. He plays this game called Mobile Legend, or must be your esport friend. Yeah, he keeps feeling angry every time someone call him Sorn spam recalls in his face. He gets angry, he throws his phone at her. What can I do to help him? You are a very nice friend, Jun Hong. You are a very nice friend to actually ask on behalf of your friends. Thank you for your question.
Yeah, I think for this, right, same thing. I think it comes back to the question by Wei Yi just now about competitiveness. It just could be that he he's very competitive and he doesn't like losing, right? But when these kind of things, maybe the maladaptive behavior is that he throws his phone at people, and that's not a very good coping mechanism because number one, it hurts your teammates, and then they might do worse later on. So it's about finding how you can cope with it in a more appropriate manner, right? How to release that energy and that pent up frustration. Yeah. If Junhong, if you want to talk more about that, we can always talk more about that later because I think this will be a big topic on its own.
Yeah, I think maybe you should share with him that even if he gets angry or then it will not help you actually make his performance worse. Yeah, so maybe you should teach him some breathing techniques and then he can, calm down a bit more zen. I read somewhere if a person is very enthusiastic and I mean it's because when a person gets angry, right, it's difficult to actually calm down. So I think breathing techniques help a lot, right? Yeah, so
Yeah.
perhaps it is one of the good techniques that you can share with your friend. And we have another good question from Kenny Ho. Kenny Ho is actually one of my former students' father. So his son is a former Putrajaya player, very passionate, very hardworking badminton player. So he has a question. Brian, when a player is very confident during training, but when on actual tournament facing the opponent, he may tend to lose his confidence. How sports psychology can influence him to maintain his confidence?
Yes, a very good question. Actually, I recently just wanted to talk about this actually, because I think number one, players shouldn't be thinking about, oh, I have to be confident going into tournaments, right? But the most important thing is how they play when they aren't feeling confident, right? Because it doesn't matter what context it is in or what kind of feeling you're having. It's still the same game, badminton, right? And it's the things that you have to do in badminton. Let's say, what does playing confidently mean to that? Maybe your footwork is on point, your arms are a bit more relaxed, you don't rush your shots so much. So these kind of things, you breaking your game down into small sections into saying like, okay, so this is how I play confidently, and this is what I have to do to win the game, right? So basically it's like breaking down the game of badminton into chess or something like, what do you have to do to win and what how are you gonna do it, right? So I think people they get confidence is a very overhyped word. I think it's not about how you play when you're confident. It's about how you play when you're not confident. That's the most important one, because if you're confident, everything ticks the boxes, right? So let's say you don't even have to do anything, then you win a day, right? Basically, because it's like a flow to you. But the most important thing is training to make sure that when you aren't feeling confident, putting them in situations where they're a bit more uncomfortable and making them grow as a player, right? That's more important than actually how do I get my players to be confident. It's more like how to make sure that they're still doing the things they're not doing, that they're supposed to be doing when they aren't feeling confident, because the game still goes on, and it's about breaking them down into, okay, like confidence is just it's a bit overrated. It's about what I have to do and what the game is about, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think when you break down, then you actually recognize where went wrong, and then after that, a problem won't see as whole, but as a small sum. And then if you overcome that part, and then you can actually slowly overcome your confidence level and be more confident. But I also believe like self-affirmation, also self-talk progressively can actually enhance a person's confidence. And actually, if you go down from my own experience as a badminton player, I always share with my students today that if you go down in the battlefield with the end of mind to enjoy the game, but not just to win, because every time when you just want to win, you want to win too much. And then that's where the fear comes in. That's where you start shaking. That's where you can see all the psychological effect of it, like you suddenly get fever, or suddenly you had your leg sprain, all these are I think from my experience of coaching and also as an athlete myself, when I do not know the importance of sports psychological skills training. So I think these are something that we can actually work on, and I think what you have shared is brilliant to our viewers just now. Yeah, so interesting. Brian, you see we have already shared almost 50 minutes. So Brian, what is the most important take-home message you have for all our viewers? And also, what are your future plans in my gap? I know you are just so passionate, from what you have shared today. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think maybe I'll start with the future plans first, then I'll end on the message, so it's a bit more nicer.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, sure.
I think for MindGap, right, we're a pretty young company, young consultancy actually. We're just a year old. Number one, our plan is to expand to have more people on our team, because when you have more people, we can help more people basically. Because right now it's just four of us, and there's only basically we can only be in one place at one time for one person. So at most we can be in four places, right? But I think for us, we want to help as many people as we can. But with that, we need more people on the team, and we need more resources. In terms of that's in terms of the like rough thing. But what I basically why I founded MindGap was because I want MindGap to be a platform for aspiring sports psychologists in Malaysia, right? Because in Malaysia, there's not much sports psychologists. So there's either the ISN, but there's only a few of them left right there. I think they're very overworked as well. But you see, you don't really see a lot of private practitioners, as we call it. So what we want to do with MindGap is we want to make it a platform where people who want to do sports psychology can come, learn, practice the trade, and then we build more sports psychologists in Malaysia, and then from there build a better field, making sure the talent stays in the country, because a lot of times we get a lot of very talented people, but they leave for better pastures in other countries because, well, they need to make a living, number one. And sports psychology is not a place you come to and you want to make a living, So in a sense where I think MindGap, right, we are not here to replace ISN's sports psychology, because that is not our job. They handle the very top national athletes, right? But for me, why I didn't go back to ISN is because I feel that I can help a lot more people that are not in the national podium program and stuff like that, because you get to work with the national athletes, yes, but what about all the other athletes who also deserve a chance to become better, deserve that sports psychology knowledge, right? So what we're doing here is we kind of complement the services at ISN with us. So what we do is we go more grassroots into all the areas. We kind of give them the base, right? The base where, okay, so this is sports psychology. What's the basis of this? Like some basic mental skills training. Then when they finally do go to the national program, ISN and stuff like that, where the more experienced sports psychologists are, then they already have a base to work with, And with that base, they can kind of build on, okay, instead of using all my time to focus on teaching them the basics, I can go more advanced stuff now. So that, number one, it helps reduce the load of my colleagues at ISN, because I feel a bit sad for them. And number two, it just shortens the amount of time required to get an athlete ready to be able to get maybe our first Olympic gold medal. I don't know, but I'm just doing my part,
Yes.
Yeah, and I think the thing for me is that why I also didn't go back to ISN is because I believe that sports psychology should be for everyone. And I think in my platform now, in MindGap, I have more. I can reach a lot more people than I could ever have in ISN and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's the plans for MindGap. If you want to know more about MindGap, you can go to our Facebook page, or go to the website www.mindgapmy.com. You can subscribe to us. We have a lot of other content up. We can look at the podcast that I did with Daphne as well.
Yes.
So yeah, so that is about MindGap. I think the most important takeaway message for everyone, right, especially in this period of uncertainty, I would say. I think now it's not that bad now because we come into RMCO, but I think during the MCO, CMCO, there was a lot of uncertainty in life. And people always ask me how to stay positive, in this crisis, because it is a crisis. Number one, it's not like we can't go out because we're trying to save our people's lives out there. But I think the one main thing that if you take nothing away from this, the one thing I want you to take away from this is that you are the captain of your own ship, right? What that means is that in the ocean, right, the ship, right, and the wind blows, right, you can't change where the wind blows from and how strong the wind blows. What you can do is adjust the sail. You can adjust a lot of things, and then to ride that weight off. So it's the same thing. Same thing with life. It's about controlling the things that you can control in life, right? So the things that you can control in life are the things, how you react to things, your reaction to things, rather than getting caught out on, I can't go out COVID now, like MCO, I can't do anything, my business dying like that. It's about, okay, yeah, this is happening. What can I do? I can't change COVID because I don't have the power there. I don't have the vaccine. But what I can do is I change my reaction to it. Say, okay, yeah, that's happening. Instead of getting angry, what I can do is, okay, maybe I can do, I haven't been exercising a lot, right? So maybe what I can do is I can do home exercises. And home exercises doesn't have to be like, oh, I have to do everything all out, like a program to 30 days. It's about doing small things first every day. If you want to make habits, right, they always say that the hardest part of making a habit is the first step, right? And the consistency. So what I always tell people is that you don't have to think about, if you want to lose weight, exercise, and become like buff and stuff like that. It's just about doing a small thing. What can you do tomorrow that can help you on the journey? Maybe tomorrow I can start doing 5 push-ups first. Just do something small every day, and it add up. It becomes a habit where, okay, yeah, today I always keep doing this. How can I add on more and more? Yeah, I think if nothing else, remember, you are the captain of your own ship. And no matter how hard the wind blows, it's up to you how you steer your ship.
Well, that's an amazing message, which is so important. I think not just for adults or even corporate people, or but then even kids, and as well as parents should also advise kids and start them young, with sports psychology or actually psychology. So thanks so much, Brian, for today's session. It's very beneficial, and I myself have learned a lot from you today. I hope all our viewers does as well. But anyway, dear viewers, if you have any questions, you can still drop it below. We will actually look into it later. And thank you so much for joining us today. So thank you, Brian. And you can also reach out to him from MyGap. So thanks, everyone. And for those who would like to know more about our future series, we actually have our next session on Thursday, which is on how relevant is Olympism in other countries. And we have very experienced practice Olympism in other countries guests, which will be joining us on Thursday at 9 p.m. on 25th of June. So actually, I will just do a quick recap also on the session today. So can sports psychology help us? I believe that our session today had actually give you a good insight that sports psychology is not only for athletes or even coaches or sports people, but it is also a practice that we can all practice for life. And I think knowing it is one thing, but also making it happen and believing it will happen is another thing. So the reason why we are actually having this series is actually so that we can help to inspire you and to encourage you to practice the timeless philosophy of Olympism, which is respect, excellence, and friendship. So if you missed our previous series and also our previous interviews, please log in or join us from our Malaysian Olympism in Action community Facebook page, and you can actually watch the replay of all our other sessions. So thank you so much for joining us again today. And also just to share with you that on the 23rd June, it is the Olympic Day. So where everyone across the world, we will all celebrate this day. And the theme this year is to stay active. So it will be awesome if you can actually, work out and stay active, not just on that day, okay, but make it a practice of your life. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us once again. Thanks. Bye.